joking. So this series is called the FOO series, FOO. So over the next few weeks, we're going to get you to understand your FOO, which is your family of origin. Now, hey? Your family of origin. This particular topic, for me, changed my life 30 years ago, and this is a series that we have evolved over 30 years to be able to help you as young people understand how to navigate through some of your life when you come from... See that? This is number 8.
Do you want anything else to leave out?
No, look, I'll just put it there.
Yeah, we've got an option.
It's number 8. I'm really good at smashing these, Joe. Got an option there. Yeah. If you see a broken line, no, I bet you do. Anyway, so it's too soon. It's too soon. So this particular series is when you look at your family, your own family, when you look at other people's family, and you have that sort of feeling where you step back and go, oh, geez, they're a bit weird. We're going to understand a little bit about their family of origin, your family of origin, and how it can actually alter the way that you see life and do life. So if you're on your phone, I'm assuming you're going to be taking notes.
Of course.
Lovely. And if you're not, then it's going to be a selfie of me duck face. Ready? Or you doing duck faces, sending it to me. So this particular series, for those of you who are joining us at home, I really want to encourage you both here and at home. This is actually a fantastic, he can help himself to the fire, you know. This is a fantastic series for your entire family. Right, so mums and dads, I encourage you to tune in to this, because I will help them. As a parent, this series helped me become a better dad by being able to relate to my sons differently. So over the next sort of 8 weeks, you're going to hear from different ones of our team present this particular message of the family of origin. What does it mean to us? And it doesn't mean we all go back to being monkeys, even though sometimes we can act like that, right, boys? Anyway, so sometimes there are behaviours that are in us, or ways of thinking that we think, where the hell does that come from? Why do I think like that, good and bad, you know? And how that rolls out into our behaviours as human beings. And so a couple of ground rules around this particular series, and I'm really, really serious about the ground rules in this space, all right? The reason for that is over the next 8 weeks, you're going to hear people share stories that are going, and I'm going to share some of my own personal stories in this particular series that are not for you to do what we call take a liberty. And everybody say, take a liberty.
Take a liberty.
Not.
Not.
Right. So take a liberty not. And what that means is, Calvin, if I'm sharing with somebody my story, and then they walk out of this room and they go home or they go to school the next day and go, oh man, I was at Bridgeville's last night. Phil shared this story about a little boy and his family, you know, and you begin to vomit out all the stuff that is not even doesn't have any context to it about what that story was about, and then you add your bit to that, and then you change it, and it becomes totally distorted. So we don't have the right to do that. If you're sharing your stories in your packs, or if you go home and you start to talk about things about your family of origin at home, and your family starts to take it on and wrestle through, how could we change relating together? How could we change hanging out together? How could we change loving one another differently in this home? And that's between you and your family. That's between you and your partner. That's between you and your friends. And if you sit in the room here, that's the privilege we have of this journey. So over the next 8 weeks, sometimes the camera will be off because of some of the content that we want to talk about, you know, and that's the privilege of being in the room. So I encourage you, don't miss the next 8 weeks. It will alter your life as it did for me for 30 years. And so confidentiality, this is a word that is put out there. Does anybody know what it means?
Keeping things between yourself and the person you talk to.
Right. How many of you love the Pirates of the Caribbean? Love it. Davy Jones locker. Once you're in Davy Jones, unless you're Captain Jack Sparrow, you ain't getting out, right? And so the way that I see when someone shares something with me, it's like, I just want you to imagine for a moment this amazing, huge treasure chest, and you open it up, you know, because it's been under the water for a long time. And I wonder if it creaks underwater. Anyway, what makes more of a moving on. Anyway, so in there is all these jewels and rubies and coins that have been collected over hundreds of years, and the captains just keep putting it in there, closing it back over, and only the captains know. Well, you guys are all the captains. So if someone shares a story with you over the next 8 weeks, or shares part of their life with you, I want you to see that like Davy Jones locker, mate. You just open that thing up, and they share it with you, and you just close that back down, and you see that as such a value, such a privilege to have been shared someone's story. Every time someone shares part of their journey with me, how big or small it is, I always feel like it's a real blessing. It's a real blessing to me that somebody would trust me enough to share it. What was the word I just used in there?
Trust.
Trust me enough. So if people share their story with you, remember those words. They trust you enough not to take a liberty with it and share it with someone else. They're sharing it with you because they trust you. So, are we clear?
Yes.
About some of the ground rules around this? So, I want you to, take a deep breath in. Here we go. And out. Yeah, we've got to breathe out, otherwise we faint. So, the next 8 weeks is, again, Bridge Builders is about transforming you first. It's so easy to point the finger at others and say, she, they, he, make me the way I am. That's not true. Some of it shapes us, but you are in control of you. You respond to you. So this is all going to be about you over the next few weeks. Now, a couple of the weeks, you might think, didn't get much out of that. And then 3 or 4 weeks in, you go, oh, that's my thing, And so it's all part of a journey that's been put together for 30 years. So let's get started, yeah. And I think I've got a timekeeper. If it fails, just Tyler, not at me. And guys, if you're at home and you're watching this, we are recording and loading it to our YouTube channel. Yeah, good stuff. Yep. I'm getting the nod from the AV guys, so that's cool. I want you to really encourage your parents while you're here for them to get online and watch it. I'm going to help them. I am a parent. I'm 53 years old. I've done the journey. And often I don't like what I see in the parent world, right? And sometimes I've been one of those bad parents, and loving sons have helped me reshape, how I be a dad and a man. And so we don't always get it right, but you've got to be willing. So if you're willing, let's step in. Are we willing?
No. Yeah.
No? So, all right. I don't know about you, but like I said at the start, I bought a fire pit. I love fires. I love whenever I go away. Not a pyromaniac, but I do love. When I'm away camping, trying to somehow get a fire started. Wherever I go, I love that kind of thing. Your clothes smell like it. Everything, your hair. But it's just something therapeutic when I started my little fire on the weekend. And sat outside there with a glass of cordial, and as I'm looking at the fire, before you know it, 4 or 5 of the other guys are around us, and we're just sitting there, and it was really kind of cool. We're just chatting about nothing really, and just watching the flames, and it becomes a real reflective time, to be able to share and be vulnerable. And so we've created a little internal fire here at the front of the room here, and so I want you to imagine for a moment that I've invited you to my fireplace. Yes. Right? So it's just you and me, right? I know there's 40 or 50 in the room, whatever. There's you and me. We're sitting at the fire together, right? Isn't it nice? Oh, crackle.
Yeah. Don't push the fire now.
No. We're going to talk about that in week 5. Anyway, so the way I want to start off with is, in this series, is understanding your family of origin. You see all this all right, Tyler? You got that in, mate? I want you to imagine over the next few weeks, and our artistic team is going to create for us and I'm not it, is going to create for us
it's a tree.
A tree. right? This is my root system, you know. It's a twiggy, right? Right? That's the best trees ever, you know. Don't your trees have arms? How do you climb it otherwise? Looks more like an atom bomb. But anyway, so over the next couple of weeks, what we want to do is often when we're looking at stuff in our life, we look at why am I doing this, you know, all the time. And what happens is as we go through this kind of series, you will see that this is going to become a fruit tree eventually. And what happens is we look at all the fruit, you know, that's, we look at all the fruit hanging off. So somebody comes up to you and says, oh, smoking, you know, oh, beating, no, oh, self-harm, you know, oh, low self-esteem again, oh, needy, you know. They're looking at all of the fruit of stuff that you can see. And often what we do is we go, oh yeah, I feel really bad. I should stop doing that. I should stop taking that. And all that is the fruit. We're not dealing with root cause. Where does that come from inside of us that makes us do that behaviour? Or makes us go to that dependency, whatever it is. You know, and then we might say, it could be something as simply as anger. It could be one of the fruits hanging off and I go, oh, that girl, she's so angry all the time. Or that guy, he's so angry. And we try and deal with the anger. Now, I've written anger management programs. Don't get me wrong, it's called Cool It. And sometimes it works. And, you know, but the fact is, unless you can trace it right back into the root system of why that person gets angry, nothing will change. So if you've ever done tree things, you know, have you ever planted a tree, a shrubbery, or a thing? Anybody? Anybody? Everybody's planted a tree at some point. At school, you planted it in cotton. I think they gave you seeds in cotton. We did that at BB ages ago, and everything died. So the challenge is, when you plant something, if it's not in the right environment, how can you expect something healthy to grow out of an environment that is just so negative and so needy? Right? So if it's not, I planted a tree one time, and I used to have a landscaping business. And in that landscaping business, I remember having this client that I had in Camberwell. And I went into her backyard. She had these beautiful hydrangeas, if you know what that is. It's that big fluffy flower that looks like you want to, you know, just, you know, so the big fluffy flowers. And she said to me one day, can you prune our hydrangeas and roses? I said, easy. So I said, no worries, man. I've got this. She said, good, I'm going up the street. She went up the street, and I took to her trees. I did a little Google research first on how do you actually prune a rose. You know, I rang a mate. He says, you've got to cut it at an angle on the thing, and I go, but right back to the nub. And I went, what's the nub? You know, and so that's the bit that goes, all right, I'll have a crack. You know, and then all these hydrangeas are these big flowery things. By the time I had finished, I had this pile of flowers and stuff in the side of their house. And when I looked out there, it looked like a desolate kind of stick farm, you know. And I stood back and I went, oh, I've pruned real good. Well, the lady came back, and I probably heard her screaming from Hawthorne, you know, and so she said naughty words to me, you know, and I tried to explain to her, you know, you have to prune things back hard in order to get good fruit, you know, right, and good flowers. No, not having it, not paying me, not anything. Get out, get off my property, you blah, 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 you know. She wanted to prune me a little bit, you know, cut my fruit off. So we're live. You know what I mean, though. So the reality is, right, I thought to myself, I'm no good at this thing, I can't do this anymore. I, you know, looked up Google, I, you know, rang a mate, he told me how to prune roses. And I thought, yeah, I've got this. Anyway, a season goes by, and I'm mowing the lawns of the people on either side of this particular individual. And one day, I see this lady's head pop up over the top of the fence line, and she looks at me, and I'm mowing next to the pool, you know, and because it was Camberwell, right, and so you mow like that, you know, and so you've always got a head flick when you turn, right? You know, so you know Camberwell, right? Yeah. So and so she goes, oh hello Phil, and I said, oh hello, you know, and she says, oh. Would you have some time today to do my lawn?
Oh,
No, I wouldn't. I said, oh, and so I wandered over, left my lawnmower, walked over to the side, climbed up on the railing, looked up and I says, oh, have a look at those hydrangeas and roses. They were banging, you know, they were awesome. She had the best crop of, and she's bragging to her friends about the roses and the hydrangeas and everything else, and they were awesome.
Did she ever give you the money?
No, and but I took great satisfaction in saying, oh, look at that, aren't they look amazing? She goes, yeah, about that.
Oh.
And I said, yeah. See ya. My lawnmower, you know. Never to do her trees again. Threw a little bit of Roundup over the fence after that. But the reality is that if you know what you're doing, you'll bear good fruit. And sometimes when you prune something back in your life, people can look at it and scream at you and go, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like what I'm looking at because Paris is changing the way that she does her life. I don't like it because it makes me feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to put enough pressure on her to remain the same because I can understand her at that. But if Paris was begin to change because she wants to get healthier, because she wants to get her mind in a space where she feels different about how she sees her life and all that sort of stuff, and she feels like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I don't like it, that comes back to my family of origin stuff. Imagine if this entire room in 12 months' time could have a totally different perspective on life and that you're in a healthier place bearing amazing fruit. So that when so-and-so sticks her head over the fence and says to you, oh, hello, you know, you can say, you know, oh, no, sorry, can't help you anymore because I knew what I was doing. But you didn't know. And you didn't trust me. So, have you ever asked yourself these things? Why do I feel the way I feel? Do you ever have that moment like at night time, you lie down, you put your head in the pillow and you say, I just feel so lonely. I just feel so needy. I just feel so empty. I just feel so unlovable. I just feel so ugly, you know, or whatever. You insert the word, you know, that you put in there. I feel. Or maybe it's this. Why am I so a bitch? Why am I so full of pride? Why am I so unable to ask people for help? Why am I so angry? Why am I so, you know, always feeling like a loser? And then the last one is, why do I do what I do? We call it do-do. You know? And wherever you go with the Bruce Builders, whenever you hear someone say, what we do, we do that. Everybody do that. Do-do? No, everyone. Do-do. You people at home, do-do. Right, so when you can't get it out of your mind, every time you hear that, you go, so, why do I do what I do when I actually don't want to do what I do?
Because you do it.
Right. So, there's the definition of insanity. If you keep doing what you keep doing, you'll get the same result. So, it's no secret. One of my leadership team encouraged me to go and see a nutritionist. So, I know that I have to change my diet. I sat with her today. She's amazing. Shout out to Annabelle. And she says to me today, all right, here's the things we have to change, blah, blah, blah. Are you happy with that? And I said, well, it doesn't really matter, does it, if I'm happy with that or not? Because because I know what to do to keep this. But if I want to get rid of this, I have to stop doing what I'm doing, don't I? So I'm going to trust you, because you look amazing, you know. And if you've met my Annabelle, you'll understand that it's like, oh, I wanted some fat old lady, and she's awesome and intelligent and beautiful. I mean, oh, I have to listen, you know. So, you know, I was so judgmental. But I said, I have to do something different in order to get a different result. And it might take some pain, and it might take some discipline, and it might take some encouragement from others, you know, in order for me to achieve this. Beck said to me before I watched her, and she said she was over there and she was eating chocolate, and I looked at her and went, and she goes, you want some? I said, no, I don't. And she goes, oh, you're not allowed. And I said, I choose not to. She was my lady over the fence. You know, so that's good. With her mum. No, what? Yeah. So here's the thing. Why do I do what I always do? And you ever go home, I don't know about you, but this used to torment me. When I would have the same outcome with friendship circles or something like that. You know, you form these amazing friends with someone, and then this other group of people come along, and you start to move and sort of migrate towards them and start behaving like them. And this person or people that you were so in love with and were amazing friends, and now no longer, because you want to fit in over here, but you really feel bad. But this is so much more important to fit in with this group than stay over here committed to this group of people who've been with you through all your crap. But you just want to fit in with this people, so all of a sudden you begin to discard people over here like they're nothing. Why do I do what I do? And so the challenge for us all is, if there are behaviours in your life that you do, you're meant to do that every time, all right? That's code. Naomi gets it. Do. So, if you find yourself with what you feel, why do I always feel this way? Why am I so, and why do I do? Yeah, we got this. You know, why do I do all of this sort of stuff, and how do I change it? Over the next 7 or 8 weeks, we're going to help you unpack the layers of that, so you're not dealing with the little cherries and the apples hanging on the tree, your behaviour or your go-to stuff. We're actually going to navigate our way back, and we're going to begin to deal with some of the root causes of things that are in your life as a young person that will impact you for the rest of your life. I have been unpacking the FOO series in my life for 33 years. When I was 20, I was introduced to this idea of the family of origin. If you type into Google family of origin, you'll get monkeys. But there are some amazing people who I'll talk to you about over the next coming weeks who have studied this process of how to change who you are, not because you want to please somebody else, but because you don't feel content in who you are. And I know that demon. I know that person at times when I look in the mirror and think, who is this person? And why did they say that to that person or about that person? Why did they do this? Why did I do that? And why do I feel so every time? And begin to ease up on yourself and realise that a lot of that behaviour comes from our family of origin, which then stems all the way back into our parents, into their parents. And if you think it's not true, check out your DNA, you know, because sometimes people will say to you, oh, you're so like your uncle, you're so like your grandfather, you're so like the milkman. If they say that, check your mum, you know. So that's an old school term anyway, you know, but back in Scotland. So what we want to deal with over these next weeks, this week and next week, we're going to deal with root cause. Because what we don't want to do is stay stuck down here in dirty soil. You don't want to stay stuck in soil that's got no health to it, no vitality, no nutrition. You want to be able to change this, and you can say, oh, how do you change such a thing that's just so built into me? Well, you can. Well, you can. Because you're a powerful human. You might not feel like that today, but in 8 weeks you'll feel like that. Roger that. So So what I want to, so much to say tonight. Yeah, okay, great. So let me tell you a story. In my upbringing, some of you already know, my upbringing was a violent one. So I grew up in a violent home, alcoholic dad, a mum desperate to keep two boys in check, worked terrible hours in order to keep what we would call, I guess, some sort of food on the table. There were gaps in my life. So when I would go into friends' houses and I would see their family relating, I would watch them and I would just sort of smile. Oh, yeah, they're having good. Yeah. And on the inside, I've got this internal gut feeling like my stomach was being wrenched like this because I just was desperately wanted that, what I was watching, and I didn't have that experience. And I got so jealous and I got so upset about it that I just wanted to have a family that was nurturing and loving and kind. And I thought, is that even unrealistic? You know, at that point, could I have a dad that looked at me and said, "Hey son, I'm so proud of you, I love you." You know, and I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, I was a bad man, you know, I was a sad man because my dad never said to me he loved me, you know. My dad was who he was. That's who he was because of his family of origin. He didn't know any better. That was the problem. He didn't know any better. You're going to get presented with some information over the next few weeks that's going to give you the opportunity to move from here to there, and all you have to do is add the tea. You missed it.
I got it.
From here
This taste
to there, all you got to do is add the tea. And the tea is for training. And all you've got to do is begin to take time, training, and be able to move from here to there to be able to be in a different place. So for me, I know in my finance, in my training of how to manage finance, crap. It was crap training for me. Parents didn't train me in that. Mum was desperate for money. Dad was blowing the money as a boozer, you know. People would come to our house. They would take our furniture because they didn't pay their bills. Back in the day, they called it repossession, you know, and they would take your furniture. I remember many times waking up to the car being towed out of the driveway because they hadn't made a payment on the car payment, or it owed the bank some money, so the bank came and took the car. And now, as a teenager, or as a young boy, and as a teenager growing up, it was so humiliating and so embarrassing when your friends wanted to come to your house and you would say, "No way," because the only thing you had in your house was milk crates to sit on. We had a 47 square house. It was an enormous house in North Ringwood. It's still there today, the house. I drive past it and shudder every time I go past. And here we are sitting at the bench, kind of, on a stack of milk crates that we pinched from the local milk bar to be able to sit on so that we could eat Cocoa Pops. With no power, with no heating and no water, because Dad made decisions about things. But I can go, "Oh, so sad," and then he was violent on top of that. It's so sad, my life, you know. It's not about sad, it's about what am I going to do now? If this is my life, this over here isn't going to be my life. I'm going to choose to go over there. And so for you guys, I want to help you and unpack with you how you can go from here to there in about 7 or 8 weeks and begin to transform the entire way that you do life and relationships for the rest of your life. If I died in the next 8 weeks, it would feel amazing to have left you with a legacy. This series for me is a legacy series. It is a thing that transformed who I am. But you have to do one thing. You have to lean in yourself. You have to think, you know what? I'm having a shit one right now. You know, and I want it to be different. I don't like who I am. I feel so crap all the time. I don't like what I do, and I feel so. If that's you, then I want you to just feel my arms just embrace you for the next 7 or 8 weeks. I've got lovely cuddly arms, you know, and Aren't they magnificent? Look at that. There's a big cuddly arm there and a big cuddly arm there. Lucky I've got two. And so when I cuddle you, it's to bring you, I want you to feel a sense of the leadership team here at Bridge Builders, just kind of coming in and cupping you and surrounding you and say, it's okay. We've got you for the next 8 weeks. We're going to help you over the next 8 weeks understand what family of origin has done to you, and if your parents would be willing to get online and watch this, I can guarantee you, parents, if you're watching tonight, I will change your life over the next 8 weeks in the way you relate to your spouse, your partner, and your children. If you're willing, there's going to be a little bit of pain involved. Probably a lot of pain, actually, but you know, just remember how much I pruned those trees. So, so as you go into your packs tonight, this is not about getting out there and finding, and what I don't want you to do, please resist the urge. Who said that? Good word. Yeah, thanks. That's a word. I've lost the word tonight. But resist the urge to invent story about your life. Don't invent stuff so you feel like when you're sitting in your pack and sharing with people, you go, oh, her story's so amazing. Yeah. I'm going to think up a ripper. If it's bullshit, then you know, then it is. It's just that, right? Be honest. If you want to share stories, come and have a cup of tea with me, and we'll move from here to there. Come and have a cup of tea with me, and let's share a story. And I'll tell you, when I look back on my life, and I talk to my brother at times, we look back on my life, it's like something from a horror story. It's like a movie that kind of I watched at some point and realised, geez, that happened to me. And the only time that I'm reminded is when I see photos of when I was a kid, and I go, oh, and this entire stuff surges back through my veins, and I go, oh, it's still in there. It's still in there, it's just kind of rolling around in my gut and in my memories. So, don't invent. Just be honest. This is going to be a safe place. If you don't feel like your pack is a safe place, then maybe have a one-on-one, a stump with your leader and say, I just don't feel like I can share this. But if I can just love on you right now and say, please lean in over the next 7 or 8 weeks. Please lean in. This changed my behaviours as a young man. It changed. It didn't fix everything, but it changed how I saw life and how I was manipulated so much by people's approval. And so if you would like to join me on this journey of the family of origin, then invite your friend here next week. And if they haven't seen tonight's video, get them to watch it before they come next week. I'm going to do part 2, and it's going to be talking about shame and guilt next week, which is, oh my God. That's just like, yo, that's the twister of your soul for your whole life. So again, what we're doing here is we're going to build a tree here on the walls here somewhere in one of these rooms, and we're dealing with root cause first, okay? So we're going to wrap up. I'm right on 1 minute. Look at that. Yeah, I'm good. Well done. I think that's the timekeepers at the back. So good job, Gil. There's so much more that we could unpack in this series. I'm so excited about the team, what they're going to be sharing with you. This is going to be a transformational 7 or 8 weeks for you. There may be some tears, so parents, get ready. There may be some tears, but please don't be the fixer, right? I just want to encourage you. When I get upset about stuff, I don't need someone to fix me. I just need to be left to be upset. Because sometimes it's not about you stopping my upsetness. It's about me remembering something, and sometimes when I get upset or bawl my eyes out, it's because I'm actually healing. You know, I'm actually healing at that point. I've shared it before. I got healed from some hurt watching a Dragon Ball Z movie one day, bawling my face off, you know, cartoon, loved it. Vegeta, you know, so it made me cry, you know. So the challenge is, guys, it doesn't matter what triggers you, whether it's a song, but you could have an amazing impact in your pack over the next 7 or 8 weeks, is where somebody's sharing in your pack, and all of a sudden you're out and you hear this amazing song or a poem or a phrase or a picture or something that you think, oh, I've got this for you. I've got this for you. And it's just like those sorts of moments. That'd be sweet, yeah? So guys, let me encourage you, let's get some FOO on in the next few weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. I encourage you all, come back next week, bring a friend, get online, get your parents involved and say, Mum, Dad, Don't say them you should. We're going to talk about should and want next week. So thank you for joining me at the fire. Stay warm. Enjoy your cake.